I want to ask you something. How much research have you done on Airbnb arbitrage? Be honest with yourself. How many videos have you watched? How many TikToks did you save? How many spreadsheets did you open? How many markets did you look up? And how many times did you tell yourself you were going to start? I'm not saying that to make you feel bad. I'm saying it because I know exactly what's happening. And I know because I worked with hundreds of women who were in that same exact spot. Smart, capable, disciplined, done way more research than the average person and still not moving. And in almost every case, when we actually looked at it together, one of the 6 things I'm about to show you was sitting right in the middle of it. These are not beginner mistakes. These are not I didn't know what Airbnb was a mistake. These are the specific mistakes that happen to women who know the model, have real resources, and are serious about building something. And they cost them their money, their momentum, and something their entire first attempt before they ever got a booking. My name is Beyonce. I built a portfolio that has done over $500,000 in Airbnb revenue. I started with my own apartment. And by the time this video is over, you're going to know exactly which of these 6 mistakes has been sitting in your way. Let's get into it. Mistake 1, picking your market based on where you want to visit. This one, I understand why it happens. You pick a market you're familiar with, a city you love, somewhere you visited, somewhere you always thought would be great for a short-term rental because you had fun there. It feels like a logical starting point because at least you know the area. But feeling familiar with a market and a market being profitable for Airbnb are 2 completely different things. And when you mix them up, you end up putting thousands of dollars into a property in a city that was never positioned to deliver the returns you needed. Here is what actually tells you whether a market works: occupancy rate, average daily rate, year-round demand, consistency, and competition. Those 4 data points tell you whether a market can be support a profitable Airbnb at the least cost you're looking at. Your personal preference doesn't appear anywhere in those numbers. Year-round is the one people miss the most. I've seen women rip properties in cities they love with strong summer traffic, and then they watch bookings fall off completely in the fall. Solid 6 months fighting to cover the rent, fighting for your life. You're paying that lease 12 months a year. Your market has to perform 12 months a year. The market that holds are the ones with multiple year-round demand drives. Corporate travels, healthcare hub, universities, events, venues, places where World Cup would be, events, places that people want to be at. Before you consider any property, pull data from an AirDNA or comparable market research tool like Rabu Data or AirDNA. Okay, occupancy, they'll show you occupancy, how well it does all year around, just so you're more confident in your deal. Mistake number 2, not getting landlord permission in writing. This one can end your entire Airbnb before it generates a single dollar. I have seen it happen to a lot of people. They either skip getting landlord permission altogether because they figure no one will notice, or they get a verbal yes, a text message, a conversation, a handshake agreement, and assume that that is enough. Neither of those situations protect you. If your landlord did not personally write and authorize you to do short-term rental in writing, they can evict you. You lose your deposit, you lose your furnishing investment, you walk away with a landlord dispute on record. That is not hypothetical. It's a real outcome, and I've seen it happen. Now, here's what I want you to know. I know a lot of people avoid asking because they assume the answer will be no. Some landlords will say no, but more will say yes than you think when you know how to present the conversation the way you get the landlord's buy-in. Okay, let me explain how you could do this. And it's by removing the risk, not adding to it. When I approach a landlord, I come in as the easy tenant. I explain that I manage properties professionally, that I handle all guest turnovers, that I maintain the unit at a high standard that a typical long-term renter, because my reviews depend directly on the condition of the property, and that I'm paying them reliably every month, regardless of whether my Airbnb is fully booked or not. That conversation is completely different from, hey, can I put your apartment on Airbnb? One is a tenant asking for a favor. The other is a business person presenting a proposal, basically, that works for both sides. Never sign a lease without subleasing permission written, put in writing. If a landlord would not put it in writing, that deal is done. Move to the next one. The landlord who says yes exists. Find them. Mistake number 3, treating furnishing like a professional decorating project. 2 versions of this cost, and they both cost you, just in different directions. The first one is underspending. You want to keep costs low, so you buy the cheapest furniture. You can put it together as fast as possible and go live. The space looks like no real thought went into it. Your photos do not make someone want to book or stop. Occupancy stays are low, revenue doesn't do what it should, and you start questioning whether the market is wrong, when the problem is actually the product. The second one is overspending. You fall in love with the property and start buying like you're designing your dream home. You're spending $13,000, $20,000 on a 1-bedroom unit in a market that will only support $120 a night. You break even stretches out so far that the whole thing loses momentum before it ever finds rhythm. The goal is the smart middle, a space that photographers like, feels like a real intentional guest experience, and costs you a number your revenue projecting can recover within a reasonable timeline. For a 1-bedroom, a solid guest-ready setup typically runs between $3,000 to $4,000, depending on the market. 2 bedrooms, closer to $5,000 to $9,000, and this is where I mostly invest into those type of properties. For a 1-bedroom, a solid guest-ready setup typically runs between $3,000 to $6,000, depending on the market. A 2-bedroom, closer to $5,000 to $9,000, where I spend more without compromise. The mattress and the bedding. Guests write about their sleep and reviews. And your star rating drives your ranking on the platform. That is a business decision everyone else. I source smart. IKEA, Amazon, Facebook Marketplace. The guest is not checking your receipts. They are experiencing the space. And before you go live, hire a photographer. $150 to $300 for professional listing photos. Your listing is competing against a bunch of different units in the market. Okay, photos is definitely going to be your first impression. Set your furnishing budget by category, room by room. Before you step foot in a store or on Amazon, know your number going in and do not shop without a ceiling. Mistake 4, pricing a full market rate on day 1. This one trips up people who have actually done their homework, and that is what makes it worth talking about. You pulled your market data. You know what comparable properties are charging, so you list at market rate on day 1 because that's what the numbers support. And then you wait, and the booking don't come. Here's why. Airbnb's algorithm rewards listings that already have bookings and reviews. A brand new listing with 0 reviews is not going to rank along a property with 40 or 80 reviews, even if your property is genuinely better. The platform doesn't know that yet. You haven't earned that position. Pricing at market rate when you have 0 reviews is asking a guest to trust you all the same. Level as a host with proven tracking records that they don't have enough. This one trips up people who have actually done their homework, and that is what makes it worth talking about. You pulled your market data. You know what comparable properties are charging. So you list at market rate on day 1 because that's what the numbers support. And then you wait and the bookings don't come. And here's why. Airbnb algorithm rewards listings that already have bookings and reviews. A brand new listing with 0 reviews is not going to rank alongside a property with 40 to 200 reviews. Even if your property is genuinely better, the platform doesn't know that yet. You haven't earned that position. Pricing at market rate when you have 0 reviews is asking your guests to trust you at the same level as a host with a proven track record. They don't have enough information to do that, so they book with the ones that already have all the reviews. What works is launch pricing. For the first 2 to 4 weeks, price 15 to 20% below where you ultimately want your goal, your nightly rate to be. Not maximize and charge the most starting off. right? We have to work for the reviews so we're able to charge what people who have a bunch of reviews are able to charge. We have to build up our listing as a trustworthy unit. I use platforms like Price Labs to help me determine my rate on what I should be charging. Mistake 5, waiting until everything is perfect before you go live. This one shows up almost all the time. And women who perform at a high level in their career, and I say that with full respect because I understand exactly where it comes from. You are used to delivering excellent work. You are used to things being done right before they leave your hands. So when you are building your Airbnb, you want every detail finished before the listing goes live. The photos could be a little better. The description quite not ready yet. The welcome guide isn't done. You want to add a few more things to the space first. And weeks go by, sometimes even months, and your listing is on Airbnb is a living document. And you can update your photos anytime. You can rewrite your description anytime. You can adjust pricing every single day. The listing is never truly finished. What you cannot do is recover the time your listing was not live. Every week you are not on the platform is a week of bookings you cannot get back. Every day without reviews is a day your search position is not building. The standard is not perfect. The standard is ready. Is the unit clean? Is it safe? Is it good? Guest experience? Yes, then it's good to go live. Set a hard launch date and work towards it. Make sure it's just comfortable enough for a guest to stay, and then you can eventually make it perfect. Mistake 6, not fully deciding you are a business owner. This is the one I almost didn't include because it's the hardest one to talk about, but it is the one that costs the most by a significant margin, and leaving it out would not be doing any good for anyone, honestly. They pick a strict market, they get landlord permission in writing, they furnish smart, they launch with the right pricing strategies, and the business still underperforms. And when you actually trace it back, the same thing shows up every time. They are running the Airbnb like a side project. They are trying out instead of a business they are building. They are not tracking their numbers constantly. They are not analyzing occupancy weeks over week. They are not adjusting pricing relative to what's happening in the market around them. They are treating every slow stretch as evidence the model might not work instead of information that tells them what to adjust. And when you trace it back even farther, it almost always comes from this. They still see themselves as an employee who is doing something extra, not a business owner who runs a company. That identity gap is the most expensive one on the entire list because how you see yourself determines how you make decisions. A business owner looks at a slow week and asks, what needs to change? Someone treating this like a side project looks at the same week and wonders if this is going to work at all. Those two people make completely different decisions. Over 6 months, over 12 months, the gap is there. Results is massive. You already have the discipline. You show up, you handle the pressure, you deliver under conditions that would have stopped most people. You do that for your employer right now. This business deserves the same energy directed towards something you actually own. Make the decision today, not when the first booking comes in. When you hit your first profitable month today, get a separate business bank account. Track your weekly numbers. Build your systems like you need it to run without you. Eventually, think like an operator from day one. And hey, if you want any help building this out the right way, or you want me and my team to help launch you a profitable Airbnb for you in 45 days and guarantee you will get bookings, the link is in the description. Connect with us there. But let me wrap this up because that's not what you came here for. So here's exactly what I want you to do right now. Go through these 6 mistakes and be honest about which ones you recognize in yourself, not which ones you knew about. Which ones have actually been sitting in your way? Because knowing about a mistake and being honest that it applies to you are 2 different things. You have done enough research to get started. What you need now is the decision to stop waiting for this to feel comfortable and actually take the risk. Because that version of this does not exist. What exists is real information, a real system, and the willingness to execute. Pick the one mistake, from this video that hits closest to home. Fix it this week, just that one. That is the real step forward. Before you click off, I want you to be consistent with you every week. Every week, I want to bring you something real, whether that's a breakdown of how I run my business, a step-to-step on something specific, what I'm seeing working right now, share some gems. I want you guys to comment below what you guys think I should talk about in the next YouTube video. Thank you guys for joining, and definitely subscribe and also follow me on social media as well as Build with Strategy. Bye, y'all.